So after a lot of people praised Microsoft and praised Bethesda for pricing the Oblivion remaster at $50, Xbox goes and makes this announcement where they pretty much said they're increasing the price on everything. Not only is the Series S being increased, but the Series X, along with controller accessories, and you can see here in this picture everything from their website. I'm not going to go into the details of what everything is and how much it's been increased. The point is, the shit's going up, and it's not surprising to see this, and while you can definitely blame tariffs all day, it's true that definitely has something to do with it. You cannot deny that Nintendo's the one that got the ball rolling with this bullshit. Now, I think the funny thing with this whole situation, really just the craziest thing that stood out to me, is the fact that Microsoft is actually increasing the price of the Xbox consoles. Dude, keep in mind, Series X and Series S have been completely outsold by the PS5 throughout this entire generation. Now, before you start calling me a fanboy or going off on me in the comments, I own both systems. I have a PS5, I have a Series X. I've had both of them pretty much since almost around launch. I got the PS5 right when it launched. Series X took me a little longer to find, but you know, if you remember back then, it was hard to find the consoles. But I do have both, and I've had them for pretty much the whole time now. And while I do use the Series X a lot more, I'm not gonna lie, man, the PS5 has had the better games in this generation, and that's just once again something that, you know, Xbox is losing in. And of course, yes, Xbox and Microsoft have made incredible moves this generation, you know, when it comes to like the business side of things, right? Acquiring Bethesda, acquiring ZeniMax. I mean, the fact that they got Activision, like some absolutely crazy big money moves that they've made. And yes, Game Pass is still on Xbox, but at the same time, Game Pass is on PC. And yes, we're seeing PlayStation games now, you know, a couple of years later, they eventually make their way over to Game Pass, but at the same time, they start off on the PlayStation. Those are still system selling games. And at this point, I feel like Microsoft still doesn't have that with the Xbox, whether it's the Series X, you know, Series S, whatever. And even now, you know, with them increasing the price of the Series S, that's really a bold move, because that system for the longest time, it was marketed as the cheaper alternative to the Series X. The Series X's little brother, you know, still able to play the same games, but no disc drive if you cared about physical media, and, you know, obviously less powerful, but a lot cheaper. And now I think it's increased to like $380. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. The Series X now is going to be costing $600. That is crazy. And yes, I understand that tariffs are a huge, you know, a huge thing to blame here. They have a lot of blame there, but at the same time, we can't blame it completely on the tariffs. Yes, that's some bullshit as well. That's going to be affecting, you know, everything going forward, unfortunately, for every American, right? But at the same time, like, you're not going to tell me that tariffs are affecting digital games. That's bullshit, really, on one hand, you know, from Nintendo. And Nintendo was really the company that got all this started. You're not going to tell me that this wasn't pre-planned before the tariffs. You're not going to convince me of that. There's no way in hell that you're going to convince me that all of this is just because of the tariffs. Nintendo knew they were going to do this before the tariffs happened. Microsoft knew they were going to do this because they just saw Nintendo do it. They just simply followed suit. Monkey see, monkey do. And you know damn well that these companies, if they see that, you know, one of their biggest competitors can get away with some shit like that, like $80 games, and, you know, now I guess a $600 console from Microsoft, what's Sony going to do? Because this was Microsoft responding to Nintendo. This was Microsoft's response to Nintendo making $80 games. And I'm not going to talk about the Switch 2 price of the console itself, because I do think that that's fair. $450 and $500 for the bundle, I think that's fair, but $80 games is ridiculous. And you know damn well Microsoft saw that and they thought, well, if they're going to do it, we can do it. We might as well be able to get away with it. And now we're going to be seeing $80 games for Xbox as well, man. It really is. It's a shame, to be honest, because it's ironic how it's working right now with games and this hobby as a whole, because I feel like gaming has never been bigger. It's incredibly popular as an industry. It makes more money than I think movies and music combined now. It's absolutely insane how much money comes in through this industry and how much is made. But at the same time, it's getting increasingly more difficult to just access this hobby, and it's becoming less and less accessible because everything's becoming more expensive. And that's really what pisses me off about it and so many other people, because if you're like me, I mean, you grew up playing games in the 2000s, 2010s, and it wasn't like this, man. Like, it genuinely was not like this. I remember being able to have $50 and go into a game store and walk out with a gold mine of games. Nowadays, you're lucky to get one game for $50, and it's unfortunate because, you know, as much as people want to complain, and people are complaining, you know people are going to buy $80 Xbox games. You know people are going to buy $80 Switch games. A shit ton of people already pre-ordered the Switch too. I was one of them. I went to my local GameStop. I waited for a couple hours outside and I got the Mario Kart bundle because I just felt I'm not paying $80 for Mario Kart World, but I also really want that game. And that game at $50 doesn't seem that bad, but it's the fact that, you know, people are still going to buy this stuff. And me buying the Switch 2 mostly stemmed from the fact that I still never had the original Switch, so it's not like I was just blindly being a Nintendo fanboy and I was just like instantly give it to me. No, it was more like, all right, I completely missed this Nintendo generation, let me see what the new one has to offer, but that's beside the point. Going forward, man, I really don't know what this means for the entire games industry. I'm seeing tons of people online saying that, you know, this industry is in like drastic need of a reset or like a crash or something like that. And I mean, I wouldn't disagree. I honestly wouldn't disagree. If anything, my backlog is looking insanely good right now. I've already been clearing games off my backlog since like last year because the list is still pretty long for me personally, and I still have a long way to go, honestly. I definitely played like a good maybe 5 or 6 new games last year, or just games from my backlog, but even this year, man, I've been trying my best to clear games and I've only cleared like 1 and we're already in May. So that's not really the best amount of progress for clearing a backlog, but I mean, given how expensive games are getting now, my backlog looks great and I'm sure yours does too. And honestly, I would encourage you to go back and play older games because that's something that's still very accessible. I know that there's a lot of doom and gloom right now surrounding like, you know, the mainstream gaming side of things, like the, you know, the big 3 companies, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, because yeah, don't be surprised to see Sony and PlayStation follow suit with this. We're just waiting for them to announce $80 games, unless if we're in some crazy ass timeline where Sony's going to be the one that actually keeps games at $70 and keeps games at $60 or whatever, that would be insanely rare. And I highly, highly doubt that's going to happen. I fully expect Sony to just follow suit and end up pricing games at $80. But honestly, that PS5 Pro, it's not looking that bad if you're somebody who still doesn't have a PS5 or a Series X, because now the Series X is going to be $600. The PS5 Pro is, I think, the same price, and it's better. It's more powerful of a console. And you might argue it has better games because you can't play Ghost of Tsushima on an Xbox. So, you know, I don't know. Again, I own both systems, so please do not go in the comments calling me a fanboy of any of these companies because I have a PS5, I have a Series X. I have my right to talk shit about either of them because I've been experiencing both of them for like the last almost 5 years now. But in all honesty, man, I would agree with this industry needing something drastic to change. And that's the thing. You know, nothing's going to happen right now because people are still going to be buying this stuff. It's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. Obviously, I said that I went out and I pre-ordered my Switch 2. I know that's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I knew why I was there getting my Switch 2. I knew why I pre-ordered it. It's not like I paid all of it in full. I put a deposit down and I knew that I was like, you know what, if anything, GameStop would have been the place to go, and I was just lucky enough to get mine. I know a lot of people wanted it and they weren't able to get one, but at the same time, you know, don't let FOMO, you know, scare you into getting these things. I know it's very hypocritical because I went to go get one, but it was kind of like doomed if I do, doomed if I don't, because since I got one and I'm saying this, people are going to say, it's easy for you to say that since you got one. Had I not got a Switch 2 and I would have been saying that, people would have just said, dude, you're just coping. So, you know, it is what it is. But I know why I went out to get mine. But the point is that I know I'm not going to be paying $80 Nintendo games throughout the entire generation. I just can't do that. That's just not sensible to me. I'm probably going to buy 1 game a year, maybe 2 games a year now from Nintendo, and from Xbox, same thing. And that's another thing. I'm somebody who's been using Game Pass on Xbox for a couple of years now, for a few years really. And honestly, don't be surprised to see Game Pass increase. That's probably going to be the next move because obviously we see that they're increasing price across the board. It's the hardware, it's the software with the games. It's probably going to be Game Pass next. And yes, Game Pass is still a great deal. Some people would say it's arguably the best deal in gaming right now, but when it's coming from the same company that, you know, is announcing a $600 system when the system isn't even selling well in the US, let alone around the world, I don't know. Bold move from my opinion, in my opinion, you know, ballsy move from them, but it is what it is. You know, I've had my Series X for a couple of years now, and if you have your own Series X too, this isn't really going to affect you, but it is just a shame to see Microsoft pull this move because, again, given the fact that the systems have been, you know, completely underperforming and just not selling well in the US for years now, it is just a bold move because the PS5 has been completely outselling them. Like, I think over twice the amount. I think it's close to like 4 times the amount of Series X's. That's how many PS5s have been sold in the US. And obviously that's not even taking into account Japan and the rest of the world and everything. It's crazy. It is crazy when you think about it because, you know, I'm somebody who's been enjoying both systems. I think they both have a lot of great things to offer depending on, you know, what games you're a fan of or just what you prefer more, where your friends are and everything. But at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't tell anybody right now to go get a Series X or go get a Series S. That's the crazy thing to me too. The Series S being practically $400 after tax, That's crazy. The Series X is not, I mean, Series S is not even powerful enough to be $400. Like, it was originally $250, and that's the thing. Like, it was marketed for so long as the more affordable option. Now that's just not even true at all. Now at that point, you might as well get yourself like a Steam Deck, or just put that towards getting a Switch 2 or something. I don't know, because those are going to be newer games and yeah, whatever. But I don't know, man. This really just reeks of greed, you know, in all honesty. I understand that the tariffs are to blame, but let's keep it real. You know, Nintendo got this shit rolling, and like I said, you know damn well they had this plan before any of the tariff shit, you know, started going around and started happening. Obviously, it's unfortunate that that is, you know, the way that things are right now, because it is going to be affecting everybody in multiple ways, not just gaming. But obviously the fact that you know, with these consoles, or with the Switch 2, I should say, you know, right about to release and everything, and Nintendo making these announcements and claiming that it's because of the tariffs, well, yes, it might be. It's also because of their greed, and it's just unfortunate because you see, like I said, monkey see, monkey do. Microsoft's following suit now. Sony's most likely going to be next. I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. But with all that being said, let me know what you think about this entire situation. You know, it's crazy, man. It really is crazy, because I'm still kind of like, as somebody again who grew up in the 2000s and 2010s gaming, and when it was a lot more of, when it had a lot more value, you know, you got a lot more bang out of your buck for that. It's just crazy to see how things are changing, and it's really unfortunate. But at the same time, like I said, as somebody who has a massive backlog, it looks great right now. I'm definitely going to be working on clearing it out. And don't forget to just always keep retro gaming as well. You know, if you have your old handhelds, if you have your old systems, keep playing them, man, because that's definitely a way to just keep being entertained with games without dealing with all the modern bullshit. But again, with all that being said, let me know what you think of this whole situation, the increase of games pretty much everywhere now, and just how you feel about all this. My name's Nico. Thank you so much to all of you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'll see all of you in the next one.